But that's the fight. Lock it in for February. We'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks. And then the big one, back end of the summer. 2026 is going to be a massive year for AJ.
Me and him to get on in Africa would be absolutely monumental, because we must be two of the last boxing world champions out of Nigeria, myself and him.
Anthony Joshua is getting ready to make a big return to the ring. Eddie Hearn says he's back in training with a fight planned for February. First of all, Amir Khan, who is in Africa to promote boxing, explained that Africa has produced many great champions, like Anthony Joshua and others, but big boxing events are rarely held there, since the people in Africa are passionate about the sport but don't get the chance to see major fights live. He and his team decided to change that. With the help of partners like Izzy from Balmoral, they quickly agreed to bring boxing to Africa and started making it happen.
You know what, there's so many great champions. If you look at the books, like you got Anthony Joshua from Nigeria, you've got Akoli here as well. You got so many great names. Otama as well. So why not? No, it's a total untouched market. No one's, they love boxing, but no one brings boxing to them. So we said, let's bring boxing to them. We've got a great team. Izzy's a friend of ours from Balmoral. He's done a great job. And that's when we sat down, spoke about it. Within a day, we agreed everything, and we're here now.
But according to Johnny Nelson, he felt that Anthony Joshua had already achieved everything he needed to in boxing. He doesn't think Joshua should keep waiting around for fights that may never happen, like the long talked about showdown with Tyson Fury. Instead, Nelson suggested that unless that fight finally comes together, Joshua should consider retiring on top, since he's already financially secure and has nothing left to prove.
Number two, I think for Anthony Joshua, coming from a place of love, I think Anthony Joshua has got nothing else to prove in this game, and he should rather walk away than hang about and wait for someone to turn him over. It's either him and Tyson Fury, which we're all sick of. Is it happening or isn't happening? Or just walk out of it. He's a very comfortable, wealthy man.
That already happened, didn't he?
Yeah.
On the other side, Spencer Oliver disagreed with Johnny Nelson about the idea that Anthony Joshua should retire. Since he knows AJ personally, he believed Joshua still loves boxing, still has plenty to give, and remains one of the sport's biggest attractions. Oliver pointed out that Joshua draws massive crowds wherever he fights and has personal goals he wants to achieve before walking away. One of those goals is fighting in Africa. Originally, there was talk of Ghana, but with boxing suspended there, Nigeria is now looking like the more realistic option for his next bout.
I sort of disagree with it really, because I know AJ personally, and I know, that he still enjoys the sport. He still feels that he's got a lot to offer, and he is the A side in the boxing game. He's still the big draw of boxing. He still pulls the big crowds. This is on the bucket list, by the way. He wants to box here. There was talk of him going over to Ghana. That was going to happen. Now, boxing has been suspended in the last 2 days in Ghana, so there was no more boxing happening there. So it's more than likely that we could get AJ here, his next fight in Nigeria, because it's about ticking off the things that he wants to do as well.
Furthermore, Spencer Oliver believed Anthony Joshua still has the hunger to become a 3-time world heavyweight champion, showing that his ambition and love for boxing prove he isn't finished yet. He expected Joshua to have a warm-up fight, likely in Nigeria, before pushing for another world title opportunity. However, Oliver stressed that it must be against a credible opponent for fans to truly take it seriously.
He has to. That's the position that he's in right now. Look, if he's going to come over here, the ambition is still very much to be the 3-time world heavyweight champion. I think once that ambition goes, AJ is finished, and he'll take that next chapter in his life. But right now, he believes that he can still do it. Many people are writing him off. Maybe he's feeding off that, and he's going to come back. He will have the warm-up fight here before, obviously, trying to get another opportunity to box for a world title. But let's see who that opponent is. But I think one thing's for sure, Adi, I think that it has to be a credible opponent. I don't think anyone's going to take anything less right now.
Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn explained that he's been in close contact with Anthony Joshua as the team plans his comeback after the tough loss to Daniel Dubois and a recent injury. Joshua has taken time to focus on personal projects and recover, but now he's ready to return to training. Hearn said they aim to schedule a fight against a strong opponent, possibly in Africa, before targeting a bigger showdown with Tyson Fury later in the summer.
I think he's needed to just find himself a little bit after that Dubois defeat. It was quite a crushing defeat for him, and I think he just needed to make sure, he's got a lot of business. He's wanted to clear that, get on with other projects, and get those things out of his mind before he returns. Obviously, he had the operation as well, he had the injury, and he's done that now. He's ready. He's ready to start going back into camp, and now I will probably have a trip in the next couple of weeks to see him, and we'll look to lock in that date of January, February, and who it will be. So hopefully soon I'll be able to give you guys some actual news rather than saying update soon. And he's pumped to return, and like I said, I like to see that from him. I would love to see AJ fight in Africa next. I think it would be epic, don't you? I mean, imagine what a thing to do. No, we talk about ticking boxes. I mean, AJ's done everything, but we need a good competitive fight before we roll the dice. And the rolling of the dice will come next, probably late summer, and we hope it will be against the man Tyson Fury. There's nothing we can do about it, and I don't know how the call out would have gone down with Tyson, because he's probably gone, I'm not going to give him a bite. He wants to bite, you know. So it's all mind games, isn't it?
Furthermore, Hearn stated that Anthony Joshua is eager to get back in the ring and stay active. He added that Joshua has many options for cities to fight in and is excited for his next bouts, so fans may see him sooner rather than later.
To get active, and that's a really good thing. So you may see him sooner rather than later. That's all I'll say. But lots of options on the table, lots of cities to fight in, and he's just excited to fight again, and like I said, get active.
But later, Eddie confirmed that Anthony Joshua is back in training and gaining experience in different camps before starting his own. He said the plan is for Joshua to return in February, with Africa as the preferred location for a historic fight. Talks are underway to lock in the details over the coming weeks. Hearn added that a bigger showdown is expected in the summer, making 2026 a massive year for AJ.
Some time in the training camp before he enters his own. February is still the plan very much. You know, my preference is a fight in Africa. We've had a couple of approaches. I think that would be a historic moment for him. But that's the fight. Lock it in for February. We'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks. And then the big one, back end of the summer. You know, 2026 is going to be a massive year for AJ.
Additionally, Hearn said that Anthony Joshua, now in the later stages of his career, is openly expressing his desire for the Tyson Fury fight. Hearn emphasized that it would be the biggest fight in boxing, with both fighters likely wanting a major comeback after being out of the ring for some time.
AJ's always a guy that's kind of held his tongue. And I think now as he comes to, you know, the back end of his career, he's almost like, why not? You know, I want this fight. I want people to know that every time I get stopped in the street and people are asking me, when are you going to fight Tyson Fury? When it ain't me. We want the fight. We're ready to go. We're ready to talk about it. But obviously, look, this isn't a goading to Tyson Fury. It's just stating facts. Do you want to make the biggest fight in boxing? And people still say to me, Bridgie, oh, you always say it's the biggest fight in boxing. Tell me a bigger one. Tell me a bigger fight in boxing than Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. It doesn't exist. So I think both guys, having been out for so long, are going to want a comeback fight of some sort. We expect that to happen for Anthony around January or February time.
Eddie Hearn said the good news is that Anthony Joshua is fully recovered, injury-free, and ready to start training camp. He's motivated and fired up to return to the ring, showing he still has plenty to give in the heavyweight division.
I think AJ right now, the good news is AJ is recovered, injury-free, and ready to start training camp, and has got the bit between his teeth to get back in big fights in the heavyweight division. And you saw that, you know, via that post as well. It's quite unlike him, but he's fired up. He's obviously finished the session and goes, I want to get back in the ring. And we believe he's still got a lot to give.
AJ fights with Jake Paul. Joseph Parker said that while Anthony Joshua was a great champion, taking a fight with Jake Paul doesn't make sense if he wants to remain serious about boxing at the top level. He noted that Jake Paul has promoted himself well, but as a YouTuber turned boxer, he isn't a real contender, and Joshua should focus on facing the world's top fighters.
AJ, listen, he was a great champion when he was champion, and if he is serious about boxing and serious about still being involved in the sport at a top level, that fight doesn't make any sense at all. Jake Paul has done well, you know, to promote himself and saying that he's one of the best in the world, but if you look at it, he's not really a real boxer. You know, he's a YouTuber coming into boxing, and he has done well, but if AJ wants to be serious, then he has to fight the top fighters in the world.
Eddie Hearn commented on the idea of Anthony Joshua fighting Jake Paul, calling it a catastrophic mismatch despite the massive potential payday. He noted that while Jake Paul has been clever with his opponents and might be willing to take the risk, Joshua isn't likely to see him as a serious challenge. Hearn emphasized that AJ's focus remains on top-level competition, not novelty fights, though the financial temptation could make it tempting for some. Overall, he suggested the fight isn't something Joshua should seriously consider.
Vonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, but they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on. I'd like to see it.
Tyson Fury confirmed that if the money is right, he would come out of retirement to face Anthony Joshua under the IBA. He expressed his 100% willingness, paving the way for a potential blockbuster bout between the two British heavyweights.
Okay, so the question was, in case people couldn't hear it from Derek Chisora, if the money was right, would he fight Anthony Joshua under the auspices of the IBA? And, well, you heard the answer, 100%. So let's see. 100%. 100%.
Lawrence Okolia also shared his thoughts that Anthony Joshua is one of England's biggest boxing stars, and having him fight in Africa would be historic. He pointed out that both he and Joshua are among the few world champions of Nigerian heritage, especially in the heavyweight classes, making such a fight a monumental moment for Nigerian boxing.
Listen, AJ is the biggest star we've seen come out of England boxing in the last, I don't know, maybe ever. So for me and him to get on in Africa would be absolutely monumental, you know, because we must be two of the last boxing world champions out of Nigeria, myself and him. I'm talking about maybe the heavier weights. I don't want to, you know, mix up and miss some of the lighter guys. But if you talk about Samuel Peters, then Anthony Joshua, myself looking to be a freeweight world champion, absolutely.
Ade Oladipo did not hold back and explained that Anthony Joshua is in a difficult spot when it comes to choosing his next opponent. He noted that Joshua could be out of the ring for up to 15 months, and options are limited. Fighting an unknown boxer is risky because a win might not carry much value, while established names aren't always available. Oladipo suggests Joshua should aim for a strong, credible opponent to maintain his status and momentum.
By the time it rolls around, AJ will probably be out of the ring for 15 months, unless it's announced today, which it won't be. So Tony Yoka seems to be a name that's not going away. There was a lot of talk about him versus Cabial, although that seems to have gone now. Cabial looks like he's going another route. So there aren't that many opponents. I mean, do you get like another Jermaine Franklin type, who we didn't really know? And it's almost like risky because you don't know him. So if you beat him, it's like, who did you beat? If you look rubbish, everyone's like, well, what are you doing? So he's in a tricky position. That's why I've always said, just go for it. That's why I always say about Bakoli, because AJ will know then, won't you?
Moreover, Oladipo said that discussions are underway with the governor to involve Anthony Joshua in a fight in Nigeria. He emphasized that Nigerians want to see AJ compete in his home country first, rather than Ghana, and highlighted several potential opponents with Nigerian connections. He also mentioned that there's a national stadium ready, making the event a major opportunity.
We actually went to go and see the governor yesterday, and AJ's name sort of came up. So they're keen on getting AJ involved in some way as well. So hopefully something can happen. Like, the last thing Nigerians want to see, and again, my Ghanaian people, this isn't a dig, is AJ to fight first in Ghana. I'm telling you now, it won't go down great. So hopefully they can kind of come together. A good opponent. I mean, there's so many opponents. Obviously, Pakoli's the obvious one. But F.A. Jagba's Nigerian. Wilder's got Nigerian heritage, I think. So there are a number of opponents. And AJ here, I'm not joking, there's a national stadium that's disused. I think that holds around 80,000, like that.
Easy Adamu, a global sports promoter, said that if Anthony Joshua returns to fight in Nigeria, it will be under the Balmora card, and that's certain. He emphasized that as a Nigerian, AJ should fight in his home country, the largest in West Africa, with 250 million people. Adamu called it a no-brainer and confirmed they are working to make it happen in the first quarter of next year.
Well, if AJ is coming to fight in Nigeria, then he's fighting under the Balmora card. That's 100%. You know, I went for an interview and everyone keeps saying AJ wants to fight in Africa, AJ wants to fight in Africa. Where is the story? The story, AJ is Nigerian. Why would he fight anywhere else? He has to fight in Nigeria, and period. We are going to make it happen. I'm sure Q1 next year we'll have Anthony Joshua fight here in Nigeria. Eddie is Eddie, and you know, Eddie does his thing. But like I said, where is the story? The love story, basically, AJ coming back to his home country, fighting. The biggest country, I mean, the largest country in the whole of West Africa, 250 million people. It's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. As far as I'm concerned, it's a no-brainer. And if it's going to happen, we are definitely going to make it happen.
According to Tony Bellio, he believed Anthony Joshua could beat Tyson Fury, but now he's not so sure. He said AJ's last fight made him question it, especially after seeing Daniel Dubois dominate, suggesting Joshua might have struggled against him.
I've always thought Anthony Joshua would stop Tyson Fury, but I can't keep making that statement. I just think AJ's last performance, I still can't get my head around that Daniel Dubois beat him. Just walked right through him. And I just think if AJ would have met Daniel Dubois head on, he's better in every department.
The clip went viral. Anthony Joshua is back in the gym, focusing on powerful training with just his left arm. Wearing a single glove, he's combining strong punches with precise footwork, showing intensity and control in every movement. Anthony Joshua's comeback is poised to become one of the most significant stories in boxing. With Africa as the historic stage for his return, Eddie Hearn pushing for a February fight, and the Tyson Fury showdown still looming, 2026 could define the final chapter of AJ's legendary career. Now the question remains, will Joshua get the dream fight with Fury, or will fans see him rebuild with a massive homecoming in Nigeria first? Either way, the countdown to AJ's return has officially begun. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and the biggest stories in boxing.